Hi, you guys. Welcome to Audrey's reading area on this multicultural Wednesday. I do books of different cultures, and I think this one is appropriate for today. Abraham Lincoln. It's called Abe's Honest Words. The Life of Abraham Lincoln by Doreen Rappaport, illustrated by Kadir Nelson. C C C. C C C. Yes, I'm going to just jump right in right after I shout out my grandbabies, Korea, Sanaa, David III, and Caden. Love y'all. Miss y'all so much. Shout out to my friend Susan, my girl Susan. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do. Yes. Well, all right, Alexa. What time is Audrey's reading area? Alexa, what time is Audrey's reading area?
Audrey Reads in her area live at 5, and please
Live at
subscribe.
5. Don't forget to subscribe to Audrey's reading area on YouTube. All right now. Audrey's reading area on YouTube. Smash that subscribe button for me. Yes. All right, all right, all right. Are you guys ready to hit this book? Are you guys ready? Because this book is like by about Abraham Lincoln. So I'm going to just jump in and read. It says, if slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I cannot remember when I did not so think or feel so. Mm-hmm. So, Abe's Honest Words, The Life of Abraham Lincoln. So, let's dive in right here where the book starts. So, I'm going to take off this paper cover because it's falling off. The paper cover. And believe it or not, the book looks just like the cover. So you're not missing anything. So, it says, in the slave state of Kentucky, deep in the wilderness, young Abraham learned to hunt for nuts and currants and fish for trouts and bass and tend to soil and seed. He learned sorrow at age 9 when his mama died. But he found great joy with a loving stepmother who encouraged him to read and learn. Like I'm encouraging you guys. I'm encouraging you all to read and learn. Abraham Lincoln is my name, and with my pen I wrote the same. I wrote in both haste and speed and left it here for fools to read. That's what it says right here. He says the family moved deeper into the wilderness to the free state of Indiana. Panther screams and prowling bears filled Abraham's night with fear. He had just a mite of schooling, yet he loved words the way his papa and master storyteller did. He stuffed books inside his shirt. In between splitting wood and plowing, he stood in the field and read. He read some book so many times he knew the whole part by heart. I'm going to read this little excerpt here. The things I want to know are in books. My best friend is the man who will get me a book I ain't read. So his best friend is the man that'll get him a book he didn't read. A book he hasn't read yet. Look at these beautiful illustrations. Beautiful. Another move to New Salem, a village in Illinois. The long, lanky boy was a man now. He ferried people and goods down the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. In between the pull of the pole and the splash of the water, he listened to hunters spin tall tales of a mighty marksman. half man, half alligator. And sailors described giant mosquitoes that could kill a man. Man, I think these little ones can kill us too. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He heard lawyers tell how they use words to gain justice for ordinary folks. He heard preachers quote from the Bible, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." He stored these different voices in his heart and wove them into his own words. Look at this powerful picture. Powerful picture. It says the long, muddy Mississippi River brought Lincoln south to New Orleans. He walked on cobblestone paths and along canals, past flowers spilling over lacy iron balconies. He saw men and women in fancy clothes, eating fancy foods and sipping wine. French, Spanish, and English words filled his ears. But a hideous sight shattered his joy. I'm going to read this one. It says, 12 Negroes, chained 6 and 6 together, strung together like so many fish upon a trot line, being separated forever from their childhood, their friends, their fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters, from their wives and children, into perpetual slavery. Lincoln worked at many jobs: farmhand, store owner, postmaster, surveyor, rail splitter. Whatever, he always had a book in his hand. Elocution, grammar, mathematics, biography, history, poetry, plays. Upon the subject of education, I view it as the most important subject which we as a people can be engaged in. America was growing. Farmers needed new waterways and railroads to ship their crops. Everyone needed better education. If he became a lawyer, he could help people get these things. So he ran for the Illinois state legislature. He spoke in public squares and county stores and hayfields. I am young and unknown to many of you. I was born and have ever remained in the most humble walks of life. I have no wealthy or popular relations to recommend me. He lost the election, but people like what he said and how he said it. He ran again. This time he won. He ran 3 more times and won. He became a lawyer. His clients praised honest old Abe, the lawyer who was never known to lie. He didn't like the nickname Abe, but it stuck. Resolve to be honest at all events, and if you cannot be an honest lawyer, resolve to be honest without being a lawyer. Choose some other occupation, he says. Interesting. Nearly 4 million black men, women, and children were enslaved in southern states. Lincoln thought slavery a great evil. If he became a United States senator, more people would hear him speak out against it. In speech after speech, he reminded people that slavery did not fit with the ideals of the Declaration of Independence. As a nation, we began to declare that all men are created equal. We now practically read it. All men are created equal, except Negroes. That's how we read it now, or then. He lost the election, but again, his words got much attention. People felt he spoke from his heart. See the cotton? They are picking cotton. In the next 2 years, tension over slavery grew between the South and the North. Lincoln ran for president and spoke out against this evil practice. He won this election. But a month before he took office, 7 Southern states left the Union. They formed their own government with their own president. In his first inaugural address, Lincoln reminded Americans that they were one people. One people. He says, we are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. On April 12, 1861, Southern troops attacked Fort Sumter, a federal fort in South Carolina. Lincoln knew he had no choice now. The North had to fight the South to bring it back into the Union. I hold that the union of these states is perpetual. No state can lawfully get out of the Union. Families were torn apart as husbands, fathers, and sons went off to war. Many never to return. Many Northerners worried that Lincoln did not have the skills to lead the nation in this terrible time. He's too backwoods. He's unpresidential. If only they knew. He tells too many silly jokes. He's had too little experience in government. If I were to try to read, much less answer, all the attacks made on me, this shop might as well be closed for any other business. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep doing so until the end. I like this picture. Lincoln believed that true liberty could not permit slavery. He decided to use his wartime powers as commander-in-chief to end slavery. In the third year of war, he issued the Emancipation, I must say it again, Emancipation, the Emancipation Proclamation. It freed over 3 million black men, women, and children, and called for black men to join the army. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free. The war dragged on. Lincoln grew sadder and sadder as more Americans died. He went to the Gettysburg battlefield and again reminded the nation why these men had sacrificed their lives. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The Emancipation Proclamation had freed slaves only in the United States and territories that were in rebellion. Lincoln wanted slavery ended in the entire nation. You want me to read that again? Okay, I'll read this again. It says, the Emancipation Proclamation had freed slaves only in the states and territories that were in rebellion. They wouldn't let the slaves go. Lincoln wanted slavery ended in the entire nation, the United Nations. Yes, United States of America. Most white lawyers did not want this. He called them to the White House to convince them of what he knew was right. The moment came when I felt that slavery must die, that the nation might live. Finally, they agreed. Finally, they agreed. Ah, look at Washington, D.C., the capital, the White House. In the 4th year of the war, victory seemed close for the North, but Lincoln felt no joy. Hundreds of thousands of men on both sides had died in battle. The country was deeply divided. Ring a bell? Many Northerners wanted to punish the South for starting the war. Southerners were furious that the Union Army had destroyed their cities and homes and crops. Could the nation ever be one again? Could it? In his second inaugurational address, Lincoln shared his vision of how the country could heal itself. With malice towards none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. The South finally surrendered. The job of healing that the nation began, but Lincoln was not there to help. An assassin's bullet ended his life. An assassin's bullet ended his life. But his words were there to guide those who choose to remember. It is for us, the living, rather that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. And that was the end. And I will show you some important dates. You can check it out, read, pause the book and read. Pause and read. And that is the end. Now, I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing me read this book to you. Let me read one more part. I just found this in the back of the book. It says, a house divided against itself cannot stand. A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. Said some deep stuff. Abraham Lincoln. Abe's honest words. The Life of Abraham Lincoln by Doreen Rappaport, illustrated by Kadir Nelson. Wow. What a powerful book. Book of his life, Abraham Lincoln. This is the cover. The cover of the book. Well, big shout out to me, my mom. Shout out to you, Mom, for always being here, showing all this love and support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to all of you who are always sharing my video. So many thanks to you all. And thanks to all of you who have gone to YouTube, look for Audrey's Reading Area. And you guys joined. Yes, you subscribed to Audrey's Reading Area. And I really thank you and really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here live, Live, live at 5. I'll see you again tomorrow, though, right? here at Audrey's reading area,